What's up guys, welcome back to Michael's house, and today we'll be talking about my preferred option if you're in need of a gate lock. We'll be reviewing and installing the fence lock from Yard Lock. It functions similarly to a normal fence lock, but instead of a normal pull-through wire, it's connected to a 4-digit locking mechanism that once the code is entered correctly, the plate is able to pull forward and opens the lock. Once the fence is open, simply scramble the code, close the faceplate, and shut the gate like normal. When exiting, simply push the mechanism and walk out. In case you're wondering, I had a pre-existing handle already installed on my gate, which is not a part of the Yard Lock system. Now let's talk theft protection. A while back, I had a close call with 2 individuals attempting to enter my backyard late at night. This lock is definitely a strong preventative option, and it will also confuse thieves if they've never seen this style of lock before. To me, the standout features of this lock are that it is weatherproof, mechanical, and keyless. This means year-round operation, as well not having to worry that electrical systems or batteries need to be replaced or that they're going to get impacted by the weather. In case you're considering, you definitely don't want to use a normal electric door lock because only the front of those locks are designed to be outside. Inside the box, you have the main locking mechanism, a bag of screws for fastening, the latch system, and the protective cover used to protect from the elements as well as anyone reaching over the fence to try and touch the mechanism, and the manual. Moving into the install, this is currently my fence with a latch to open and close the fence. The first step that we're going to do is to take the latch and space it out on the fence to find the optimal placement. The guide suggests that the latch mechanism be around 1 centimeter in from the fence post to make it more secure. After that, I slipped in the metal arm that will be attached to the door to ensure it was long enough to fit into the latch. Something to keep in mind, as I show here, you do need to drill some pilot holes first before driving those screws in to prevent splitting your wood. Something I noticed while installing these screws are that they are quite long, so that's definitely a bonus so that this mechanism is more secured inside the post. After that's done, the next step is to lift the latch to mark where we're going to need to drill a hole through the fence post to feed the wire cord through. Next is probably the trickiest part of the install. We need to drill a hole through the entire post to the other side and have the hole come out where we want the outer locking mechanism to be located. Depending on the thickness of your post, you may or may not have any problems. My fence post, however, was too thick, so my drill bit actually wouldn't reach to the other side. To solve this issue, I decided I would take a steeper angle as illustrated by that red line so that I could locate the mechanism on the outside of that post. Since you'll be drilling at an angle, the best way to start this hole is to take your drill bit and drill into the post straight on for a few millimeters, and then to angle your bit once you're inside the rest of the way. As you see, I bottomed out and I've put my drill bit completely into the post, and at this point I'm just hoping that it made it through to the other end. And as you'll see in a moment, I got extremely lucky and the tip of the bit just pierced the outside of the post. This, in my opinion, is definitely the trickiest part of this install, so if you made it to this step, kudos to you. Next, all I'm going to do is take my drill bit and just clean up that hole from the outside so that I continue that hole all the way through the post. After that, the next step is to feed the wire cord through, and as you can see, pulling on that wire now operates the latch. In case you're wondering, the cord is spring-loaded, so it'll automatically return to the original position after you let go. The next step is to take the locking mechanism centered over that 3/8 of an inch hole you just drilled, drill some pilot holes into the 4 holes, and then fasten your screws in. The next step is we're going to fasten that metal cord to the faceplate as illustrated in this diagram. You're simply going to take off that plastic cap, then feed it underneath both screws, and then come back and intersect both of those screws, put that cap back on, and you're going to pull that cord taut. During this whole process, you're going to want to make sure that you're pushing up the faceplate and down to make sure it's operating that mechanism properly, and then you're going to simply fasten those screws in to tighten it to its final position. Once that's done, we're getting pretty close to the end of this install. If everything was done correctly up to this point, once we open and close that box, it should operate the latch. As you can see, it's working properly. Next, we're going to have to set the code, and to do this, inside the box, there's a metal latch. I've included a diagram here. What you're going to want to do is to take off the plastic cover and then push that notch with your finger. You should hear an audible clicking noise. And when that's done, then you can push up the faceplate, put in the code, and then you can open up the faceplate again and push that notch back, and then put the plastic cover back on. And just like that, you'll have set the code. Next is the last step. We fasten the top cover over the latch to prevent any tampering. My fence is pretty tall, so it would be difficult for someone to actually reach over or even use a tool to reach over and grab the latch, but nonetheless, it's a great protective measure if your fence isn't as tall. Like I mentioned before, it's also great at preventing rain from getting on the latch, and in the winter preventing snow or ice buildup. Something to make note of, in order to install the cover, you will need an extension on your bit to fit in those tighter spaces, as it is pretty deep in there. Overall, I'm quite happy with this purchase, and I think it's a great solution to lock an outdoor gate. As I mentioned before, because this lock is mechanical rather than electrical, you don't need to worry about the weather or batteries. And since it's a combo lock, you don't have to worry about carrying another key. For those wondering, I also wanted to point out that the 4-digit scrolling mechanism is very smooth and does feel very robust. I was a little bit worried it was going to feel like one of those cheaper bike locks, but I can definitely say that this is smooth and it is very clear once you've selected a number. The only con I could think of with this product is now it is an additional step to get in and out of your fence. You are likely going to have to put down whatever you're carrying, put in the code, and then walk through the gate. But I think it is well worth it considering that your fence is a lot more secure. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this review and are thinking of picking one of these products up, be sure to check out my Amazon link in the description. This is Michael's House, signing off. Peace.